Aquarius, stop scrolling. The moon may be highlighting something in your life today that you were never meant to ignore. August 23rd carries a powerful lunar message for Aquarius. Something may be shifting beneath the surface, your emotions, your intuition, or even the direction of your life. Stay until the end, because the final message may be the sign you've been waiting for. Aquarius, there are moments when the universe seems unusually quiet, yet something inside you feels completely different. Today is one of those moments. The moon represents emotions, intuition, hidden feelings, and inner awareness. The parts of ourselves that we often overlook while we're busy managing everything else in our lives. And when lunar energy feels stronger, you may notice subtle signs appearing around you. A repeated thought, a strange coincidence, a sudden feeling about someone, a dream you cannot forget, or an unexpected desire to change direction even in something you thought was already settled. For Aquarius, these moments can feel especially significant because you often rely on logic before emotion. You like to understand things, you like patterns that make sense, you like being the calm, clear-headed one in the room. But today, your intuition deserves a little more attention than usual. Not because logic has failed you. It hasn't, but because some truths don't arrive through reasoning. They arrive quietly, through feeling, through timing, through a sense that something is different, even when nothing on the surface has changed. So before we go further, take a breath, let your shoulders drop, and allow yourself, just for the next 20-some minutes, to listen inward instead of outward. Let's begin. The moon is asking you to slow down. Aquarius, your first message is simple. Slow down. You do not need to have every answer today. Sometimes clarity arrives only after you stop forcing it. If you have been trying to make a decision, understand another person, or figure out what comes next, give yourself permission to pause. This might feel unnatural for you. Aquarius energy is often future-focused, always thinking 3 steps ahead, always trying to solve the puzzle before anyone else even sees it. But not every puzzle is meant to be solved today. The moon reminds you that not everything has to be resolved immediately. Some answers need time to reveal themselves, the same way a photograph needs time to develop before the image becomes clear. If you rush this process, you may only see a blurred version of the truth. But if you allow it to unfold naturally, the picture that emerges will be far more accurate and far more useful to you. So today, resist the urge to force an outcome. Resist the pressure, whether it's coming from yourself or from someone else, to have it all figured out right now. Slowing down is not the same as falling behind. Sometimes it is the very thing that puts you ahead. Your intuition may be louder than usual. You may notice that your inner voice feels stronger today. Perhaps you suddenly know that something is right or wrong without being able to explain why. That feeling might show up as a flicker of hesitation before you say yes to something, or a strange comfort around a decision that logically seems risky. Instead of immediately dismissing that feeling, observe it. Intuition is not about blindly believing every thought that crosses your mind. It is about becoming aware of patterns, emotions, and signals that your conscious mind may have overlooked. Small details your rational side filtered out because they didn't fit neatly into an explanation. Aquarius, you are ruled by innovation and forward thinking, but you are also deeply connected to collective awareness, a kind of quiet knowing that exists beneath the noise of everyday thought. Today, that quiet knowing may be trying to get your attention. You don't have to act on every impulse, but you can start paying closer attention to the ones that keep returning, the ones that feel less like a passing mood and more like a message trying to reach you. Ask yourself, what has my gut been telling me that my mind keeps arguing against? That question alone might be worth sitting with for the rest of the day. A hidden emotion could surface. Aquarius is often known for appearing calm and detached, even when something meaningful is happening internally. You've built a reputation, maybe even with yourself, for being the one who doesn't get shaken. the one who processes things quietly, privately, without much visible reaction. It's a strength, but it can also mean that emotions get pushed aside long before they're actually resolved. Today, an emotion you set aside may return. It could be disappointment about something that didn't go the way you hoped. It could be excitement about a possibility you haven't let yourself fully feel. It could be nostalgia for a version of your life that already passed. Or it could be hope, quiet, cautious hope for something you're not even sure you're allowed to want yet. Do not judge yourself for feeling it. Emotions are information. They are not weaknesses, and they are not distractions from clear thinking. They are part of clear thinking. They can show you what matters to you, what needs attention, and what you may finally be ready to release after holding on to it for far too long. If something rises to the surface today, don't rush to explain it away. Let it exist for a moment. Let it tell you what it came to say. Someone may reveal their true energy. Another message surrounding August 23rd involves awareness in your relationships. You may begin noticing, more clearly than before, who genuinely supports your growth and who only appears when they need something from you. This isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone around you. It's about clarity. Aquarius, you value fairness and honesty, and sometimes that means you give people more benefit of the doubt than the situation actually deserves. Today, pay attention to consistency rather than promises. Words are easy. Anyone can say the right thing in the right moment, but actions repeated over time are much harder to fake. Who shows up when there's nothing to gain? Who checks in without being prompted? Who celebrates your wins as genuinely as they show up during your struggles? You do not have to accuse anyone. You do not have to make dramatic decisions or confrontations today. Simply observe. Sometimes the clearest answer doesn't come from a conversation. It comes from quietly watching what people repeatedly do and trusting that pattern more than any single explanation they might offer you. A chapter may be quietly ending. Aquarius, not every ending arrives with a dramatic goodbye. Some chapters don't close with an argument or a big decision. They simply stop feeling like home. The routine that used to bring comfort now feels a little hollow. The friendship that used to feel effortless now takes more energy to maintain than it gives back. The goal you once chased with excitement now feels like something you're only doing out of habit. You may realize that an old habit, expectation, friendship, dynamic, or personal belief no longer fits the person you are becoming. If that realization appears today, do not fear it. Growth often begins exactly here, in the quiet, uncomfortable moment when you admit that something has changed. Even if nothing dramatic happened to cause it, you didn't do anything wrong. You simply grew, and some things weren't built to grow with you. Endings like this are gentle, but they still deserve to be honored. You don't need a big goodbye. You just need honesty with yourself about what no longer fits, and permission to let it go without guilt. The sign may come through, repetition watch for repetition today. You might repeatedly hear the same message from different sources. You might encounter the same theme in conversations, in something you read, in something you overhear. You might think about the same goal multiple times without meaning to, or you might notice the same symbol, number, or word appearing more than once. Instead of immediately assuming that every coincidence carries a supernatural meaning, use repetition as a prompt for reflection. Ask yourself, why is this catching my attention? What does it remind me of? What decision, memory, or feeling does it connect to? Repetition is rarely random in the way it feels. Your mind tends to notice what's already relevant to something you're processing beneath the surface, even if you haven't consciously named what that something is yet. So, if a theme keeps returning to you today, don't brush past it. Sit with it for a moment. It may be pointing you toward exactly what you need to look at right now. Your energy is becoming more selective. You may feel less interested in unnecessary conversations, meaningless drama, or people who constantly drain your attention without giving anything back. That does not mean you are becoming cold, distant, or unkind. It may simply mean your priorities are shifting. Quietly, gradually, the way most real change happens. Aquarius, protecting your peace does not require shutting everyone out or building walls around yourself. It means becoming more intentional about where you invest your time, attention, and emotional energy. You are allowed to outgrow conversations that used to hold your interest. You are allowed to step back from dynamics that leave you feeling depleted instead of nourished. You are allowed to choose depth over noise. This shift isn't a flaw in your character, it's a sign of maturity. A sign that you are learning the difference between being available to everyone and being present for what actually matters. A new direction may be calling, something new may be quietly developing in your mind. A project, a career idea, a creative goal, a personal change you haven't said out loud yet, or a completely different vision for your future. One that might even surprise you, given where you thought your life was headed. You may not be ready to act on it immediately, and that is okay. Write the idea down. Explore it in private, without pressure to make it perfect or practical right away. Give it space to exist before you decide whether it deserves your full commitment. Sometimes the first appearance of a new direction is only a small thought, a passing "what if?" that refuses to disappear no matter how many times you try to dismiss it as impractical or unrealistic. Aquarius, you are naturally drawn to innovation and reinvention. If a new idea keeps returning to you, it may not be a distraction from your path. It may be the next version of your path, quietly introducing itself before you're fully ready to meet it. Do not chase what is leaving. This may be one of the most important messages for Aquarius today. If something is naturally moving away from you, a person, an opportunity, a version of a relationship, a phase of your life, do not automatically assume you must chase it. Sometimes distance creates clarity that closeness never could. Sometimes losing access to something reveals exactly how much energy you were spending trying to keep it alive. Energy that once redirected could go towards something that actually gives back to you. Let people, situations, and outdated expectations show you what they truly are through their own actions, their own choices, their own timing. You don't have to force anything to stay. In fact, the more you try to hold on to something that's already leaving, the harder it often becomes to see clearly what's actually happening. Release does not mean failure. Sometimes release is simply wisdom, arriving a little earlier than your emotions are ready to accept it. The final message: trust your next step. The moon is not asking you to predict your entire future. It is asking you to become more aware of your present. What feels different today? What keeps returning to your mind, no matter how many times you try to set it aside? What are you avoiding, even quietly? What are you ready to release if you're honest with yourself? And what new possibility keeps softly, persistently calling for your attention? You do not need a perfect plan. You only need enough clarity to take the next healthy and meaningful step. Not the next 10 steps, not the entire staircase, just the one right in front of you. Aquarius, imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the life you have been trying to force is no longer the life you actually want. That realization can be uncomfortable. It can feel disorienting, even a little frightening, especially for someone who values having things figured out. But it can also be liberating. Sometimes the biggest transformation begins internally, long before anyone else can see it on the outside. You may still look the same. You may still show up to the same routines, the same conversations, the same responsibilities. But your priorities have changed. Your standards have changed. Your understanding of yourself, what you need, what you deserve, what you're willing to accept, has changed. And when that happens, certain situations naturally begin to feel too small, Not because they got worse, but because you got bigger. You outgrew the container before you even realized it no longer fit. August 23rd can be viewed as a reminder to listen to that inner evolution rather than fighting against it. You don't have to explain this shift to anyone else. You don't even have to fully understand it yet. You just have to stop resisting it. If you have been waiting for a sign, perhaps the sign is not something dramatic appearing in the sky. Perhaps it is the growing certainty inside you that you cannot continue living exactly the way you did before. Perhaps the sign is your desire for peace. Perhaps it is your willingness to let go, even when letting go is difficult. Perhaps it is the courage to begin again, even without knowing exactly what again will look like. And perhaps, most simply, most quietly, it is the realization that you deserve to take your own inner voice seriously, not someone else's opinion of what your life should look like, not the expectations you inherited without ever questioning them, your own voice, the one that's been trying to speak to you all along. Aquarius, pause for a moment and think back to the first thought that came into your mind when you woke up today. Was there a person, a decision, a dream, or a goal that immediately appeared almost before you were even fully awake? If yes, take that as an opportunity to reflect. Your mind doesn't usually choose those first waking thoughts randomly. Write one word in the comments representing what you are feeling right now. It could be change. It could be clarity. It could be release or hope. Or any word that feels true to where you are in this moment. There's no wrong answer here, just honesty. Remember, astrology can be used as a tool for reflection rather than a guarantee of what will happen. The moon does not have to control your choices. Your choices are still yours, today, tomorrow, and every day after this one. But sometimes the symbolism of the moon can help you notice what your own heart has been trying to tell you for a while now, quietly, in the background, underneath the noise of daily life. Aquarius, August 23rd, is your reminder to slow down, listen inward, release what no longer fits, and give your next chapter the room it needs to unfold, in its own time, at its own pace. If this message connected with you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next Aquarius reading. And before you leave, comment, "I trust my next step," if you are ready to move forward with clarity, patience, and confidence. Share this video with another Aquarius who may need this message today. Your next chapter does not need to be rushed. It simply needs to be yours.